What's up, strong people? Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com with a bit of update on World's Strongest Man Day 1 in the groups, qualifiers, heats, whatever you want to call them. It's all unofficial. This is going off of spreadsheets and third-hand knowledge and, hand timing, random, fan videos from the crowd, searching them on Instagram, etc. But what we do know for sure is that Iron Bibby was replaced. He had to withdraw from competition, so he didn't get to compete. He was replaced by Brian Benzel of the USA. It's been said that Bibby contracted malaria in March, and he still had some of that in his system, so he didn't clear medicals. Brian Benzel replaced him, and that's in Group 3. Worlds, from what I understand, has a more stringent medical testing, evaluation to make sure the athletes are healthy. They do EKG tests to test their hearts, etc. World's Strongest Man is licensed and owned by IMG, which is a pretty much the number one film entertainment company in the world. They shop the show around and sell it as a TV package, and I imagine the medicals being higher than your average show. Has to do with their insurance policies for being a big company and liability and all that. I don't think it's a bad thing that they want to make sure the athletes are healthy to compete. We're talking about really big guys. I think it's really unfortunate because I don't think if it is from malaria and it wasn't, he had a failed heart test or whatever, he probably could compete fine. But, I think it's kind of one of those things where when lawyers and everything get involved, fun stops happening. But Brian Benzel should have never been an alternate. He was doing really well last year when he tore his bicep on the axle. I think it was in Group 5 and probably would have been making the finals, very likely. But Zadrunas and Nick Best made the finals of that group. And, not to jump too far ahead, but he won the loading race in his group against, Zadrunas and Oberst and etc. So it might be unpopular opinion. Bibby, I think, is a huge talent, but I think at this point in time, Brian Benzel is a more well-rounded competitor and a tougher person to face in the group, where Bibby is going to have flashes of greatness and what we could see in future, but still a little raw and needs some more experience and time, to develop all the skills necessary to strongman, not just overhead pressing and yoke runs, the standard stuff. Anyways, also another replacement, Paul Smith is in for Vitalis Lawless. Vitalis Lawless appeared to have torn his calf 3 weeks ago at Europe's Strongest Man, and he posted on his Instagram that he retore it in warm-ups for the loading medley. Paul Smith posted that he had 20 minutes to go, and he went. So Paul Smith of Great Britain replaces Vitalis Lawless in Group 2. So Day 1, every heat did the loading race, which consisted of two 160 kilo, what's that, 330 pounds, give or take, Rogue sandbags, which are huge. I keep saying that they're 160 kilos online when people ask me, people are like, there's no way. So that's a huge jump when they've always been 250 pounds in the past. So a couple athletes struggled, but 330, it honestly looked like a good weight. Most everyone seemed to do well, especially the winners. And that they loaded two of those, looked like about 60 feet onto a relatively short platform, maybe 42 inches, maybe a little lower. And then where they were two giant looking like telephone poles, which I think were made by Steve Slater for Rogue. And I think those were also 160 kilos a hand. So pretty heavy medley. And Martins Lisi had the fastest time out of everybody in, all the heats. Every group did this event, right? And Martins had the fastest time at about 31.66 seconds. So he's looking good right now. Then Heat 4 and Heat 1 did a second event today, which was the Conan's Wheel. Circle of Strength, they call it, which had two like little rickshaw, like motorized bikes. I think SBD posted it's about 660 pounds in the hand. Conan's wheel, you walk around in a circle. How it works is the heat, everyone has a slightly different schedule. So, you know, heats 1 and 4 did 2 events on day 1. Day 2, they probably won't. They'll probably do 1, where the other ones will do 2. So there's a different schedule like that. So in heat 1, which had both events, Hafthor Bjornsson won both events pretty handedly. He was about 3 seconds faster than Payman Manpour, of Iran. And then let's look at this. Yeah, but Hafthor, it looked like he was just cruising, not really pushing it, just doing what he had to do to win. He also went last in the Conan's wheel and went just far enough, beating Marius Lawless's time. In that heat, Rob Kearney he clutched his bicep at the end of the loading race, but he also did the Conan's wheel, so it can't be that bad if he's doing a Conan's wheel. Hopefully just slight, nothing too serious, and he can continue to compete. There's full results at StartingStrongman.com. I'm just going to talk about the various, what we know and like the top 3 in each event. So top 3 in the load and carry would be Hafthor Bjornsson, then Payman, then Big Laws, Lawrence Chalet, and then they kind of flip-flop completely in event 2, where Marius Lawless got second to Hafthor in the Conan's wheel, and Belsack got third, and then Big Laws got fifth, and Payman got 6th. So that one's wide open. Pretty much Hafthor has 12 points, and everyone else has 7 or 6, other than Rob Kearney, who has 4. In Heat 2, they only did the loading race. Johan Els beat Brian Shaw, I believe, and Brian Shaw did it in 42 seconds, with the next closest time being Adam Bishop for 3rd. Paul Smith, having 20 minutes to get to it, got last in that heat. Heat 3 went Brian Benzel, smoked it in 39 seconds. Robert Oberst did a slight hesitation, picking up the farmer's walk, being sure, but won his, but he got second, just a little bit ahead of Zadrunas, and from what I've looking at the tape and everything, looked like all those guys were like within a second or 2 of each other, so that was a really close race. Luke Stoltman was just absolutely blistering the course. Probably, maybe could have challenged Benzel for first, but had some problems on the farmer's walk. And then Graham Hicks got 5th with Dennis Colarus in 6th in that first event. They will be doing day 2 events, which is the kettlebell toss and squat lift, later today. In Heat 4, we're not too sure who won. I know, I'm pretty sure that, so Martins won. He had the fastest time out of anyone in the load and carry. Mark Felix had a very fast time and appeared, and I'm pretty sure got second. JF Karan might have won in there, so we don't really know, but we saw him finish. Krzysztof Radzikowski only did 2 sacks and Forsmark. Like, there's choppy videos, but for sure Martins won the first event and the second event, the Conan's wheel. Mark Felix, I believe Mark Felix got second in both the 2 events. JF Karan looked to have suffered a injury. He kind of was pulling at his calf. I heard it reported that he has a strained hip flexor, but he's going to continue. That would be really unfortunate, which made him get last in the Conan's wheel. He has a deadlift coming up, and an arm over arm pull, and a dumbbell, and then Atlas stone. So I think he'll be able to keep continuing. Will it be enough to make it to the finals? It's hard to say, but Mark Felix is actually looking really good in these events, and with a dumbbell, with arm over arm, with deadlifts, he'll do well, especially if Karan's a little not 100%. He might still be able to keep points on him. Arm over arm should be a good point, and dumbbell is about as good of an overhead event as Mark can ask for. So, man, 50-something years old, 51, 52. Mark probably a good shot at making the finals right now. And then I think Radzikowski got third in the Conan's wheel, but he got towards the probably fourth or fifth in the load and carry. So he's not going to have too many points this time. So it looks like they're kind of breaking away with Lisis and Felix so far. In Heat 5, we know that Kilkowski won. It's hard to say. He might have actually had a faster time than Lisis. This is just, someone said Lisis was the fastest time. It's been reported that Kilkowski did it in 30 seconds. It looked really fast. Who knows? But he looked absolutely incredible, smoked everyone else, and this is probably the toughest group. Gymnasia did it in 40 seconds, coming in second place with Shivlikov somewhere in between 40 and 54 in getting third place, it said, and Terry Hollins did it in 54 seconds. I imagine Nick Best also had a fast time, so he probably is right up there. That's all we know. Follow at Starting Strongman, follow at Let Kale Lift on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything. Go to startingstrongman.com. Keep hitting refresh. There's a big post linking to everything we know as we know it. And day 2 will kick off sometime tonight, West Coast Pacific Standard Time. And we'll keep updating World's Strongest Man how we can. Of course, remember, all of this is unofficial, but that's what we know so far, how we think we know it.